Entitled parent thinks they rented the whole park. So I'm at a city park with my kids. We've been to this park a bunch. There is this one spot where there's a rocky hill, all tree covered, nice and shady on a hot day. There's a playground and a pavilion at the top of the hill. We get up there, and I immediately notice loud noises, and I'm having to step over cables and extension cords. Someone rented the pavilion and set up not one, but 3 bouncy houses around it. Frickin' great. So, I have to give the disappointing news to my kids that even though they're surrounded by bouncy houses, they cannot play in them since this is a private party, but they're free to go hit the playground. Everyone's cool. I sit on a bench as my kids go to town on the fake pirate ship when I hear, "Hey!" That's when entitled dad, doing his best to imitate the situation from Jersey Shore, walks up to me and informs me that the playground is closed for a private party. I look at him and inform him that the public does not close for private parties, and it sounds like he rented the pavilion, which is fine, but it doesn't give him exclusive use of the neighboring playground. He storms off and returns with a rental agreement and shoves it in my face, telling me to get the fucking kids and leave. Right, so, rental agreement is very clearly for the pavilion, all for the grand sum of $35 for 4 hours. How could any sensible adult think that $35 granted you exclusive use of a public playground? Moreover, why is it so important for you to have exclusive use of a public playground? I, again, point out to him that he rented the pavilion, not the park, and my kids won't go on his bounce houses, and we won't go into his pavilion. But the playground is fair game for everyone. He begins hurling threats, and I'm weighing just taking the kids and leaving to avoid this jerk. Then I decide that I need to take a stand on principle. So, I tell him to fuck off and proceed to use my phone to find the phone number for the park office. Our county staffs our park. During the summer months, they employ park rangers, who have peace officer authority. I call the park ranger and tell him that there's some trouble up at this shady playground and they need to come right away. Sure enough, as I'm getting off the phone, Dolph returns with 2 of his meathead friends to tell me that they're ejecting me from the park. No, you're not, and if you touch me, I'm calling the cops and pressing charges. No anger, no rage. With this promise of action, however, one of them kind of widens his eyes and steps back, saying to his friend, "Just leave him alone, man." This guy, for some reason, does not want the police coming, and it is very obvious. The ringleader won't back down, however, and tries his best to get in my face, scream, and yell. He grabs my arm, I remove his hand. All of this just as I see the ranger pull up. Yell for everyone to step back from one another and come over. This smug fucker shoves the rental contract into the chest of the ranger, telling him that I'm trespassing, and he rented this space for the day for his kid's party. Now, normally I don't like posturing by law enforcement, but here it was pretty amusing. Ranger says, "Touch me again and I'm arresting you." Reads the contract. "This is for renting the pavilion. You have use of the pavilion, but the playground is open for public use." Hands it back. "Also, your permit doesn't allow you to set up bouncy houses. Where did you plug these in?" So the ranger follows the extension cords and sees that they ran them to the nearby public bathrooms. There was an outdoor outlet. It was locked. This dude cut the lock off so he could plug in his shit. The ranger comes back with the broken lock and says, "Did you cut this lock?" It was like that when I found it." "Really? Because it was intact this morning? So some random person cut this lock and you just happened upon it within the last 2 hours?" I guess?" Long story short, he let them stay and let them keep the bouncing castles because he didn't want to ruin a kid's party. He wrote the guy a citation for the broken lock and the unauthorized power use and banned him from the park for the remainder of the season, after the party of course. Amazingly, the entire event was lost on my children who barely noticed anything was going on, likely because of the compressor noises. Our next story was posted by user Ansley Star, titled, "You see that thing in your hands? I want it. It's mine. Give it to me." Thought of a great story from a few months ago. Our characters are PM, Pie Mum, PK, Pie Kid, and CE, the calm employee. So, around Thanksgiving, I decided that I wanted to make a pie for my mom and bring it to the Thanksgiving dinner. My mom was a celiac, so she typically misses out on the pies since she doesn't want to make everybody eat gluten-free crusts when they don't have to, even though they really aren't that bad. However, since I'm a procrastinating hoe, I waited until Wednesday night to even go to the grocery store to buy what I need. I managed to snag the last gluten-free pie crust that they had, which was great because I really didn't want to hand make it. Cue the entitlement. The pie mum walks up to me and holds out her hand. Me, I'm a dumb bitch and I think she's asking for a high five, so I high five her.
Ah! What are you doing? I need the pie crust.
Oh, sorry, it looks like they're out. Maybe you can ask somebody else? The pie mum then interrupts me and says,
I know they're out. That's why I need that one.
Points to the one that I'm holding. I chuckle nervously. Yeah, sorry, I need this too.
I need it for my daughter. She can't have gluten.
Then I see a preteen standing behind her, glaring at me like I'm somehow at fault. I didn't like preteens when I was a preteen, and I especially don't like them now, but that's neither here nor there. So I say, "Ooh, I'm sorry, that is so rough. Oh, my mum has celiac too. She can't have..."
I don't know what celiac is, but my mum needs the pie crust to make me my pumpkin pie. That's right. Besides, you clearly don't need to be eating any pie, sweetie.
I bite back a very, very rude reply and just put the crust in my cart and walk away. I thought the ordeal would be over, but of course not. That would be too easy. The pie mum storms up to me with an impeccable looking employee in tow.
This is her!
Ma'am, this woman says that you took this pie crust from her.
That's right. I was holding it and she just ripped it out of my hands and ran away.
Okay, well, that never happened. I got to the pie crust first and she just wanted it for herself.
That's not true. I saw you do it.
Me, getting ready to get into it with this 12-year-old girl, says,
I did not.
Sorry that your mom is too fucking...
See? She's cussing in front of my child!
The employee holds up a hand to shut the mom up. We can figure this out. We have security cameras that show the aisle in question. If what you're saying is true, we can easily prove it. If you'd come with me, we'll figure this out. The pie mom, looking like a deer in the headlights, says,
Well, you know these things aren't always accurate.
Sorry, what? A security camera isn't always accurate?
I mean, it's not even... It's the principle of the thing. I said she stole it, I should get it back.
Ma'am, as a manager, I have to do my due diligence to figure out what happened. I'll be happy to return the crust to you if it turns out that what you're saying is true, but the woman says that it isn't true. Why would I believe one person over another? Especially when I can use video evidence to find the solution.
What happened to the customer's always right?
She starts to storm away.
I'm never ever coming back here if this is how you treat customers. Come on, entitled kid. Looks like you'll have to wait until next year for your pie.
Both the employee and I wait until the woman is gone. And then I say, I really didn't take it from her, you know? Yeah, I know. She's been a pain since she started coming here. There's a warning about her in the break room.
Finn.
Our next story was posted by user Okuro Ishimoto, titled, Kill your dog before it gets bigger or I'll do it. Hi everyone. So, just yesterday my grandma and brother were out and stopped by a pet store, where they saw a boxer and Labrador puppy that had the exact same markings of a boxer my grandma had when she was younger with the snout, or snooter as I like to call it, of a lab that we had when I was around 8 to 12. After a bit of begging to my mum, I received a call from my brother saying, "We're getting a new dog!" which was incredibly random. So they brought him home and I immediately fell in love, even after the crap all over the floor 5 minutes after being in the house. He's about 9 weeks old and is about the same size as our Boston Terrier, Cookie, who's full grown. To put it simply, he's gonna be a big boy pretty soon. After a few hours of trying to decide names, I wanted to name him Tyson because of Mike Tyson and Dobby because of his ears. Then I thought about the correlation of Mike Tyson and ears and decided to stay clear of them despite his newfound obsession with carrying socks in his mouth. My mum came home and we decided on the name Kobe. We took him to the vet today because we thought that he had some problems with his hearing and he unfortunately had fleas, so we had to get him treatment for that. Now, Kobe is kinda overly playful when he wants to be. Not rough or anything, but he started chewing things. Not just toys, but shoelaces and cords and stuff. We're discouraging this sort of behavior, but we've only had him for a day now, and these things take time. My mum and I were sitting in the vet's office. I'm holding Kobe while he licks my face, and I get that wonderful whiff of puppy breath that smells like freshly licked butt and burnt popcorn. We've had our other dog, Cookie, for about 6 years, and a game we play with her is, since she had a rather smushy face, putting her nose gently between our index and middle fingers and saying we're gonna pinch it off. She loves it and is always in the mood to play, so I tried it with Cody, who has a much longer snooter. So I do the same thing as I do with Cookie, given the classic banter of, "I got your nose, it's my nose now." And while Kobe's loving it just as much as Cookie does, he's still a puppy, so he doesn't really hold back. He puts my knuckle in his mouth and starts chewing on them. Not hard, just playful nibbles. But as I said, I want to train him to stop this before he's fully grown, and playful nibbles start hurting a lot more. So I do what I usually do, telling him, "No chewing, be gentle," and he stops and goes back to licking my face. While this went on, Entitled Mother and Entitled Kid were sitting with their miniature dog that looked like Rufus the Naked Mole Rat at a furry convention. Little freaking goblin wouldn't stop yipping whenever somebody passed by it. Eventually, my mum takes Kobe into the vet's office, and I'm stuck there in the waiting room, alone, with 2 entitled people, and the only dog I ever have or ever will dislike.
Excuse me?
Huh? Yeah, what's up?
You're putting it down, right?
No. He's 9 weeks old, he's just here for a little checkup.
What? I saw how vicious he was biting you.
No, he was just getting a little overly playful. Though I understand your concern, I'm working on teaching him to not nibble things when he gets bigger.
You mean it's gonna get bigger? What if it attacks my baby or another person?
Yeah, he's gonna get a lot bigger. But don't worry, he's not an aggressive dog, he's just a puppy.
No, I want that thing put down right now.
After repetitive, senseless arguing, my mum comes out with Kobe, and after the most obvious ear whispering I've ever seen, Entitled Kid lets out a shriek that gave me flashbacks to that lemon guy from Adventure Time.
Make the mean dog go!
The entitled mother marches up to the vet.
I demand that you put that vicious mutt down right now.
Ma'am, I'm not gonna put a dog down that shows no signs of harming anyone, aside from a little bad breath. You got your face licked too, eh? Haha, sure did.
Don't you ignore me. If you won't put him down, I will.
Entitled mother then went over to Kobe, a small 9-week-old puppy, and kicked him. I'm not a violent person, but I snapped on her. As soon as she kicked Kobe, I tackled her to the ground and held her there with her screaming like a banshee. Help! Help! It wasn't long before mall security was called, and they took her from there. The vet gave Kobe another look over, and said he would be fine. Nothing bad happened aside from the initial pain of the kick, but he did get loads of treats afterwards for taking the force of Jabba the Hutt's fatter sister like a champ. Still waiting on an update about the entitled mother. Thanks for reading. Our next story was posted by user Hi, I'm Nerd, titled, Entitled Mother tries to take my book, but fails to read a word and gives up. So, this happened earlier today and I'm still laughing. Sorry for the format, I'm on phone. Also, English is my second language, there will be mistakes. The backstory. I was making my daily commute on the bus while reading a book. It was a J.R.R. Tolkien novel, the Silmarillion for you nerds out there. As you know, Tolkien writes in a peculiar way and uses really old English. In my country, I live in Brazil, there's this publisher that uses very old translations. I love it, it gives a very interesting touch to the reading. So there's some words that we don't use anymore. Behind me there is a mum, which is the entitled mother, and a little girl, the nice kid. So, the history. I was reading, without a care about the world, headphones on and with really loud music. Now, I think this lady called me a few times, because she got physical trying to communicate. She tapped my shoulder, and I took out my headphone. The conversation went something like this.
Excuse me, did you know that you'll go deaf listening to music this loud?
Oh, I don't usually listen like this. I just don't like to be bothered.
Well, that's not very polite. I was trying to talk to you.
Oh, sorry. The music must be annoying you. I'm gonna put the volume down. It wasn't that loud, but I was always trying to be polite.
It's not about the music. Please, ask if I can read the book, Mom. Shh, sweetie, Mommy's talking.
I turn to the girl and explain. Sorry, kid. This book has a lot of harsh words, and even I struggle to read it. You will get bored if you try.
You think my girl can't read this stupid book? How dare you? My girl can read anything.
Then you should bring her a book. It's not anybody's obligation to entertain your daughter.
It's okay, Mom.
The kid turns to the window and starts to look outside at this point. The lady seemed annoyed, but stops complaining for a while. And then I made a dumb move. I took out my phone to check the time, and I heard that obnoxious voice.
See? You're not even reading. Give her the book.
Lady, even if I wasn't reading, it is my book. You don't have to give your stuff around just because other people complain to you, do ya? Entitled mother almost chokes on her rage. She's mad. I don't give a damn. I just put my headphones back on. Remember, the music is very low, and I kept reading. The entitled mother then said with an angry voice,
Fine! If you won't give your daughter the book, then I will read to her.
This lady just approaches me with her head over my shoulder. I hate this. Don't enter my personal space, please. And then starts to read. She reads one paragraph, and then the word Ainulindale. It's a theme for a book inside the Cimmerillion. It means great symphony.
Listen, darling, the what the frickin' even is this book?
She retreated with defeat, and I enjoyed the rest of my reading in peace. The kid didn't even pay attention to her mum's reading, just kept staring at things outside. I know it's not like those entitled parents that get mental over things, but the audacity of this lady was surprising even for me. And our last story was posted by user NotSupercell, titled, Entitled Mother Thinks I Was Kidnapped Because I'm with an Arabic Grandmother. This happened 7 years ago, and I forgot about this until I saw another post. I essentially remembered because brain things. I do not speak Queen's English, so if you want to complain about the R to is ratio, or my grammar, I don't give a crap. Anyways, because I was a rather short 8-year-old at the time, I looked more like I was 5, so this happened. The cast are Entitled Mother, the bitch, Entitled Kid, I don't know, he was in a double stroller, but there was only one of them, and Entitled Mother slammed me against her, but so NGA, nice great aunt, NGU, nice great uncle, GM, grandma, and me, g'day. Let me start by saying, I don't know if she was pregnant or fat, but her kid was in a double stroller. There was nothing on the other seat. Well, she probably lost the fetus if she was, because, well. Anyways, I'm walking through a mall in Wisconsin with my grandma and her brother and sister, who are Arab. They all moved to America when they were 10, so around 60 years ago. I'm not Arab because my grandparents got divorced, etc, etc. My real grandma has medical things wrong with her and was in Maryland at the time, and my Arabic grandmother actually knows my name. We had just gone to Auntie Anne's pretzel place thing, and I was eating a pretzel bigger than my head, covered in salt and dipped in cheese. I was happy. Because I'm Irish, I did not look like my grandmother, or my nice grand-auntie or uncle. Now, I should mention that this was before GM, NGA, and NGU had converted to Christianity from Muslim, so grandmother and nice grand-auntie had hijabs on. We keep walking and eventually get to Coles, I think it was. I was 8 and eating, I didn't notice to be honest. Suddenly, Entitled Mother starts wheeling her kid out of the store, and sees a small white boy walking in the middle of 3 Arab people, and screams! In a crowded mall, hence why I was in the middle of them.
This child is kidnapped!
And the story officially begins. Hooray, Henry! Haha, sarcasm.
No, he's not! I'm his grandmother! Shut up, you're not allowed to talk! Come with me, boy!
The entitled mother then tries to pick me up, and my nice great uncle snatches me back. and he says, "Quick, run, you fools!" Huh? And as my relatives begin to run, I notice and start to jog to get to them. Unfortunately, I was a slow child, and entitled mother caught up to me, and she picks me up and slams me against her belly really hard. She then begins to sling out of said store. I then do what my mum and dad tell me to do if stranger danger, or kidnapped. I kick her in the vagina. I did not know that not everyone has balls. However, this crumpled her, and security comes up to me, a crying child, and arrest her for attempted kidnapping, slurring, assault to a minor, and apparently she stole from said store. I do not know what happened to the baby stroller because they left the stroller in the middle of the mall. If y'all want more info, I can update this post, but it's like midnight where I live and I'm tired, so good night, people of Earth. And on that note, I'll finish this story too. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, links for the Instagram, Patreon, Discord, Twitter, and my podcast services are in the description below. If there's anything you guys would like to see, be sure to hit me up in the comments below, or any of the social media platforms. And as always guys, have a great day. Bye.